Okay. Welcome in to another edition of the Hot Lap Yap. That's what we're calling it now. We've cemented that name. I am here with NASCAR Jon. Jon, thank you so much for hitting me up, for wanting to be on this, for wanting to do this. I was like, wow, this is like a guy. This is a real guy who wants to do this, this show. So I appreciate you paying attention to what I do, and I've seen your stuff for a long time. So it's awesome to be able to connect like this and have a conversation, just learn more about what you do and who you are behind the camera, in front of the camera, and understand how you really, what your passion for NASCAR really is. Because I think there's a lot going on there, you know.
That's for sure. There's a lot going on. I appreciate you having me on, and like one of my favorite things is talking about race cars. So I'm more than happy to hop on a podcast and hop on your show. And as you've probably seen in like my bio, it's like D1 Yapper. That is for sure me, especially when it comes to race cars.
It's easy to get going on. At least for me, it is. I mean, and it never ceases to be a good time when all the race car kids get together and start flapping their gums.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started in motorsports, or in NASCAR in particular. Like, it was just a family connection somebody watched, or it was just on the TV one day and the rainbow car looked cool, and that's how it started, or what was the pathway for you?
Yeah. So I am a third generation NASCAR fan, and it's a really cool story because my family's from Appalachia, North Carolina, like literally where NASCAR got started with bootleggers and moonshiners. My family's from there. My grandpa snuck out as a teenager to go to Asheville Speedway, and he was just a big car guy and got into racing. This car dealership he worked for decades ended up sponsoring some cars in the 60s. And then he passed that on to my dad, who was, huge fan of Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, Harry Gant in the 70s and 80s. And then I came along and it passed along to me. And so I grew up watching, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart. And so the legacy continues. And we took our nephew to Daytona last year, and it was like surreal to be like, okay, I think we got another one.
Another one on the hook, Generation 4.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, I unplugged this thing. Jeez. All right. That's awesome, though. I love it when it's a family story. A lot of the time it is.
Yeah.
I know that's the same case for me. Like, my dad and all his friends were big. We're from the Northeast, so it's a little bit different in terms of like being as completely connected. But that's really cool that you said your grandfather snuck away to Asheville Speedway, and that's like part of the culture of the sport, which I think is something that people, the original culture of the sport, the culture of the sport changes all the time now, especially in our modern era. And I'm sure we talk about that as we go along here, but that's really cool to have that like foundation of your fandom. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's really special, and I feel like I have this like weird like foot in both worlds, where I have this like love and appreciation for the tradition because I grew up in it. It's like all around. Whenever I go back to see family in North Carolina, it's there. Like when my grandfather passed, I inherited a lot of his like hats and gear. So like I have like some vintage stuff that like some of it I like sold years back on like Etsy, but some of it I'm like, that's never leaving me ever. It's just so special. So it's really cool to have that connection, but also to be like in tune with stuff today.
It's quite the shift. I mean, I'm an old man myself. I remember going to races in the early 2000s and just remembering what it was like as a kid, and then as it is now. It's even weird to say that out loud, like, yeah, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it's we're at that age, I guess, and it's been interesting to watch it reform and reshape. If you had told me when I was 11 years old, or my dad when I was a kid, hey, they're gonna go run a street course at San Diego, and a guy from New Zealand is gonna be dominating, in the points, and we would have been like, we were speaking another language to us, like,
right. What's going on here?
It's interesting that it's taking the turns, the literal twists and turns that it has over the last 20 years, and it's I don't know. I think we're better off for it in a lot of ways.
For sure.
Some ways, we're still tooling, but that's the
Agreed.
nature of cars and race cars in general. You're always tooling. You said you had like a lot of vintage merch. Is there a piece that's your absolute favorite? I've gone down that rabbit hole post Dover. Just I spent way too much money and now I want it all. So like, is there anything you have that's like super, super unique or super special you like to wear around or, rock at the track?
So probably the favorite that I will wear, my great uncle, he gave me a couple years back a Dale Earnhardt hat from the '90s. Like it is for sure and original. I was actually watching like 5 years ago, so watching a Bristol race from the '90s, and I literally was like, "Oh, that's the hat! Like that's my hat! Like somebody just bought that off the merch trailer. I have that."
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite that I wear. I'm kind of I won't wear it on hot days because that thing, I don't want it to like have stains and stuff. I've already stained one vintage Dale Earnhardt hat, so I'm kind of cautious. But the coolest thing I have, and I'm like, I don't even touch this thing, is my grandpa had a Texaco Haviland signed hat by Davey Allison. And the story is he went to the race shop one day and Davey was just walking in. He had, my grandpa must have bought the hat or whatever and was like, "Hey, Davey, will you sign this?" Was super nice, signed it, and just that was that. And I like Davey is such a beloved figure in this sport that like I've often wondered like, should I send that to the Allison family? Should I send that to the Talladega Hall of Fame, like Motorsports Hall of Fame down there, or should I just keep it? Like I don't know, but it's like this really. There's also this connection with my grandpa where like I love that story and I kind of want to hold on to that forever.
Yeah, I know what side of the fence I would be on. That thing would stay at home. I mean, it would be in a case somewhere.
That's
like
what I
on
need
display
to do
in my living room. Like that would be me. Like the museum has plenty of things, I'm sure, but you keep this one.
Right. This is for me. This is for me.
Yeah, this one's for me. It's okay. A little selfish. It's okay. So you talk about like drivers that have been close to you and close to your family, and did you grow up like a fan of a driver or just a fan of the sport? I always get into this with people and it's always so much fun because some folks online like they wear their fandom on their sleeve. Like I don't think it's a secret that people know who I like and I don't like. Some people are a little more closeted about it and they're like, okay, listen, yeah, maybe I'm a Joey Logano fan. Who are you like? Who do you feel something for out there on the track? Is it one person? Is it a couple people? How do you approach that, especially from the creator space where you're gonna go out there in public now and maybe talk about people?
Right. Yeah. It's always interesting when you're like, I'm gonna piss some people off with this take. Like this is
100%.
Like sorry, not sorry. No, I was a Dale Jr. kid growing up, like hardcore, lived and died by the 88. Like I remember going to Walmart when Dale was in the 88 car and was like, "Let's buy all the merch we can. Like this is, let's do it." And those were the days when NASCAR was like all in Walmart. But yeah, I was a live and die like Dale Jr. guy for sure. I mean, I had like the Budweiser hat that like I couldn't wear to school because it was alcohol as a kid. So like but I also had the like the NASCAR video game one where it was like a nice can of Dale Jr. like on the car.
Can of Dale Jr. That's funny.
Yeah. So Dale Jr. was my guy. When he retired, I think I went through a little bit of like who do I follow? I will say since Dale Jr.'s retired and also it's just I've gotten older, I am for sure more and more a fan of the sport and of storylines. Like that's probably the number one thing. But these days, I would say kind of my number one guy is Bubba Wallace. But I would say like I'm a fan of 2311 and Trackhouse. Like I love what these new teams are doing, sort of with their branding, their style, their approach. I like pretty much all their drivers, which also is like nice that overlaps for me. So in general, I just kind of I like the attitude of those teams and sort of their fresh perspective.
Yeah, and that's awesome because we talked a little bit about like the foundation of the culture, and then now as we've gone down the rabbit hole, as the sport has gone down this transformative period of time, we have these modern, robust, forward-facing organizations like Trackhouse, like 2311, and they fill their stables and their offices and their garages with all the right people. I was at 2311 earlier this year, and I mean, I would let them do surgery on me in that building. Like it was the cleanest looking, just the nicest looking place I had ever been. And that's such a shift away, just from that example, it's such a shift away from maybe the more traditional, like, okay, let's go out in the barn and go elbows deep in some elbow grease and get things done, which works just fine too. And that's fun. But that's awesome though. I mean, Bubba had a great weekend this past weekend at Dover. We were sitting right, where is it? Right by the start finish. So it was like, interesting to see how he would go through his pit cycles. We could see his pit cycle from across the way, and just the ability, him and Fred. I don't know how he gets anything done with Freddie in charge, yapping in his ear all day. So, what it was cool to see him manage the pit cycle though. Is there like a favorite moment you've had? Have you met Bubba or any of these drivers that you're like kind of fans of or transitioning into fans of since the junior days?
Yeah. Okay. So there's like three stories that crop into my mind. Martinsville 2015. My dad and I got to go on pit road before the race, and Dale Jr. was like super incognito, but I mean, I'm a Dale Jr. diehard. I could recognize him from a mile away, like had the hoodie up, and I just was like, hey Dale, like, and I tried not to like be too loud to like attract a huge crowd, because I could tell he was like, but he just like gave me a thumbs up, and then like very quickly I like turned around and my dad got a picture of me like smiling while Dale's like walking away. So that's as close as I've gotten to meet Dale Jr. Bubba, I've gotten a picture with at Richmond like 5 years ago. He was super nice about it. But that's about as close. And then Ross Chastain, I got to meet in the hotel lobby at the Chicago Street Course. Trackhouse was staying in my the hotel we were staying
No way.
And,
that's awesome.
And I saw, and this is what's crazy, I saw a bunch of people with like Project 91 stuff, and I kept like I was like hype about SVG for that race. I kept telling like my family who was going. I was like he's that guy. Like, watch out for him. I didn't think he'd win, but I was like, he's gonna be good. And I never got to meet SVG, but like I was really hoping he would like come down to the lobby at some point, like while we were like at the bar hanging out. But I did meet Ross like as it's downpouring. He's like debating to go out. It's like him and his girlfriend. And I was like, I literally looked and was like, oh, hey Ross, like, can I get a picture? Like, and he was super nice about it. And I made a joke about smashing watermelons. So that was really fun. That one's a unique one where I was like, okay, that's cool.
That's cool. And so you were at the street course in Chicago. That was this past year or the year prior, or when did you go out there?
Yeah, 2023. That was the inaugural year where it was like, this might not happen. Like, this is it's raining so bad that it's horrible. Like, my wife, oh God bless her. I was like, because they moved the Xfinity race, like they got half of it in and then moved it to Sunday morning or whatever. And so we go out because like it's kind of raining, kind of not. It's not going to happen, right? It's just downpouring. And we're just like miserable, just absolutely miserable. And then we go back to the hotel and I'm like emotional. I'm distraught. Like, I've seen half of a race. I've invited like all this family to come to their first ever NASCAR race. It's horrible. And then like, lo and behold, we have a fantastic race. SVG wins. And I'm like,
it was an especially good race once it stopped. Once the rain stopped doing the rain thing, it was a lot of good racing that year. Yeah. I mean, that street course really gave us some entertaining product. I know there's people who are going to, there's too many road courses, but that conversation aside, like the entertainment value of the actual event, I don't know. I'm a very traditional, I'm a very traditional roundy round boy, but like I turned on that street course and I was skeptical like some people, and by the end I was ear to ear. I think for me the second year was the Bowman year.
Yeah,
like the excitement of him being out on different tires, and even the rain, as awful as the rain can be, it plays into a part of adapting to a strategy on track where, okay, Bowman's going to stay out on these wet tires, or what was it? Bowman was out on wets. Reddick was on slicks. Who can do it better? How much rain is there? Like, that to me adds a little bit of that spice. So that's cool that you were able to go out there and do that and experience that Chicago experience. Hopefully they go back there eventually. What do you think about them going away from there to San Diego? Is that, I mean, and that's not official as of this of this moment, but it's like the worst kept secret. It's like, been the worst kept secret.
It's
for a
like
while.
the Ram thing, the Dodge thing. It's like the worst kept secret. Like, everybody sees it. I like Chicago Street Course is like one of my all time favorite events I've been to. So like I ride hard for that event. I'm super sad to see it go away. I am based on all the conversation I'm seeing and hearing, it does seem like there is genuinely an interest to try and make this happen in the future, which I would
Sure.
love to see because, like you said, I think like I've watched a lot of street car racing between F1, IndyCar. Street court racing is hit or miss, right? Like there's not necessarily a lot of good ones, and Chicago is fantastic. Like
Yeah.
it races super well. The fact that NASCAR is in downtown Chicago and like everybody in the city knows about that, I think is monumental. Like would the next gen race good on Chicagoland? Sure. But like are we like impact versus like 1 week of good racing on a mile and a
Yeah.
half? Like the impact of Chicago downtown is incredible. So like I really really want to see them bring that back. Like I think if they bring it back, I'm going to get my family back to that event.
Okay.
But I
That's
am
sick.
also like I also feel for the folks in Southern California, like to
Yeah.
lose Irwindale, to lose Fontana. Like if we ever get Fontana back, like feels like they're dangling the mouse, for us, or dangling the carrot, whatever you want to say. Like that's super frustrating. And I'm just hopeful for San Diego. It sounds like it's going to be on the Navy base. Like, I
Mhm.
just hope it's a good layout that's racy and that's accessible for fans. Because if it's not accessible for fans, there's no point in doing that event because that is
Yeah.
literally the like main point. And if it's not racy, it can still be a good event, right? Um, but I think
Absolutely.
if it's racy and if it's accessible, then you got a home run there.
Yeah, the San Diego stuff is interesting to me because of the way that Coronado Island's kind of laid out. And I was down there one time years and years and years ago when I was in college, and I said it on my show earlier this week, and it's like it's more Southern California than the Coliseum race was. So when we
Sure.
go there, like the views, like it's going to be unreal. And I agree with you 100% that you know making it accessible to the fans and having like that big I call it like circus presence
Hmm.
because that's what you're really getting after, but that you won't have to worry they won't have to worry about the logistics of being in the center of a city anymore,
Right.
which is what Chicago was so good for the exposure. But it's like
And the
4th of July.
views. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but 4th of July weekend we're in the center of one of the largest cities in the United States, and it's like I get why people maybe were a little upset about that, who might have lived there, had to commute or whatever. But this seems like it's like perfectly adjacent to what they're looking to do, and I think the Navy's presence could make it even cooler. I have some friends who served in the Navy, and it seems like everybody has to pass through Coronado in their Navy
Yeah.
career. I
Right.
don't know if that's just an isolated thing for people I know, but super super cool to be able to maybe have some presence with them and all kinds of different things. I mean, we see the military get involved. Like Bubba's car this last weekend was
Right.
Space Force.
Right. That was pretty cool. Cool looking scheme.
That
Also, like,
super dope.
can you imagine? Like, I'm just picturing the Blue Angels
Oh,
at this rate. Like, they have to be there, right? Like, I
they
don't
have to.
like that alone would be incredible for them to do a flyby like the Thunderbirds do at the Daytona 500. Like
Yep.
that that gives me chills right now thinking about how cool that could be.
I mean, they could really turn it into like this Army Navy game of racing, which would be kind of interesting. Like to have all of our,
Yeah.
have the service members there and, on track and around the area. I think that would be super cool. But I'm excited for it. I know there's people out there who are going to poo poo on it, and
Because
they're
it's not
gonna,
Daytona, right? It's not
right,
Daytona. It's not the
right.
beach.
And I don't know why everybody's all fired up about Daytona anyway right now, because I was there a couple of years ago. It's Daytona is an experience.
Yeah.
The whole area is an experience. So I don't want anybody to get it twisted or out of context. It's a great race to go to. If you're gonna go to races and you've never been to races,
Yeah.
you need to go. But the racing itself is not what the the
It's not what it should
the
be.
the aged fan has seen other things there, and it knows it's not what it should be exactly.
Yeah.
So it's definitely different. So I'm not mad about like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go to the beach and it's not gonna be in Florida. Like let's go play in the sand in San Diego. Like I'm ready to rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This could be like with all the elements there, like you say, this could be like NASCAR owns the 4th of July weekend. Like this could
Could be
be
cool.
our staple event. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, yeah. And that between that and like Motorsports Christmas, Indy Coke, and well, now to soon to be changing that F1
RIP.
race, but F1 always got to come in and do something. They always got to ruin it, make it about themselves. I don't know. I don't.
Sure.
Do you watch other racing series? Are you a fan of other racing series? Is F1 slander tolerated in front of you? Is that okay?
Yeah, like I watch I watch F1 when I can. Because I work Sunday mornings, I can't really watch most of the races.
Sure.
Um, but I do keep up with it. I enjoy it for what it is. I think it's a like from an engineering standpoint, from like the cars themselves, I think it's really cool. The drivers are interesting, mostly. Uh, but I also tolerate a lot of F1 slander because I'm like pretty vocal about like, hey, super cool that we have a bunch of new fans in motorsport. I don't want to knock it. Like, if you love F1, great. Come check out IndyCar, then come check out
Yeah.
NASCAR. Just get deeper into the wormhole. But also, like, let's be clear, it's the most boring of the major motorsports,
Yeah.
and it's not really close. Like, give me IMSA all day over F1. Like, I don't know that's
Okay.
so I
I'm right
tolerate
there
it.
with you. You're in good. I'm in good company with you here because I agree tremendously. I don't know. I stay up late. I stayed up late to watch a handful of F1 races earlier this year. The one that really kind of like was the straw that broke the camel's back was Suzuka, where the race was over on Saturday before the race even started.
Right.
Like the qualifying was the race. So I was like, okay, like I get it. NASCAR might not always be the most exciting product, but I mean, very rarely do we go from exactly what the qualifying position is to exactly what the finishing positions are.
Yeah,
So
that's rough. That's a
I,
rough look.
I have gotten down the IndyCar rabbit hole recently, and partly because of some of your content and because of content from MJ and Andrea and what they do on the IndyCar side. And but I can't get away from the roundy rounds, right? So like, I loved what I saw in Nashville.
Yeah.
That was like exciting. Even Iowa, I know they had like low attendance for Iowa, and they're talking about, oh, maybe no more Iowa for IndyCar. But like, I enjoy that racing. But IndyCar's something that's getting more pushed to the front of my feed lately, which is
Yeah,
cool. I'm
it's
here for it.
IndyCar can be for me as like a NASCAR guy first. Like sometimes it's a nice palate cleanser of like,
Yeah,
oh wait, no stage racing. They're just gonna let them rip.
yeah,
All right, like especially I do like love IndyCar on the ovals. I wish there were more ovals. Like growing up, I've been like a casual IndyCar fan for most of my childhood because I was just
sure.
so bought into NASCAR. But like I've seen them race at Kansas. I've seen them race at Texas. Like to see them race at those places when you watch NASCAR there is like it blows your mind. You're like, I
Yeah,
cannot believe how fast they are. And like I've been to the Indy 500, and that is just an unreal experience. Like takes your breath away. So like
I
those cars on ovals just absolutely rip.
yeah. I mean, Indy 500 this year. That's on my list. I have a long list, but that's on my list too. I mean, some of the sights and sounds from the Indy 500 are absolutely the end. Is that like the top of the ladder in terms of like live motorsports events that you have in your opinion? It doesn't have to be like, okay, you're gonna tell
Yeah,
everybody what the best thing is, but in your experience, has that been something that's like real up there?
yeah, for sure. It's
Okay.
probably it's got to be in my top three, along with Daytona 500 and honestly Chicago, just because it was the first street course
Yeah.
race in history, and just the SVG, like all the circumstances surrounding it. So that's why it's up there for me. But Indy 500, it like you can't even comprehend how many people are there. Like me and my dad were sitting on the front stretch on the inside, and you're just looking, and you just see people as far as the eye can see, and you're like, I can't even see like half the people here. So
That's wild.
it's a unbelievable time, and to see those cars, like we were there for carb day, and to see them go, at first glance, 230 down the front stretch.
Yeah.
We've watched a lot of racing. We stood there for a second, like, is that real?
Your jaw drops, believing that something that fast just zipped past your face. That's pretty crazy.
Right.
I think I mean, I've never been there for a race, but I agree what you said. The sheer size of the facility. I was out there for a drag racing event off weekend
Mm.
for Indy, and we took a bus tour around the track. Like, you sit in the little bus and they take you around, and then inside the infield, oh, the snake pit. The snake pit's great. They also have like a 9-hole golf
Hmm.
course in the inside of that facility, and it's like I don't think people realize really how big,
It's massive.
like 350,000 people, I think, were for Indy 500 this past year. The fact you could even put that many people in a place, much less get that many people out to the event, is crazy to me. I've had a new awakening of like how important that race is, because I used to be big Coke 600 guy, and I still am a big
Yeah,
Coke
Coke
600
600 is
guy.
great. I'd love to go.
And yeah, that's hopefully for me next year. We'll see. Fingers crossed if everything works out. But it's like the Indy 500 is, to me, just that next step up, and it's like by nobody's fault, no fault of anyone. It's just this giant, giant, giant place, and they've just set it up so flawlessly with that way that they structure that event. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. It's yeah, you got to go. It's incredible.
Add it to the list. So 2 questions. These are so I usually ask people for hot takes. So I'm gonna prompt your hot takes because
Okay.
because of recent news on the internet. Now the internet loves to be inflammatory, and people
No doubt.
jump down everybody's throat, which can be terrifying and awful, but also super entertaining. And when the tribe all gets together and raises their pitchforks against a common enemy, I mean, listen, Mark Martin slander is never tolerated here.
No.
So, you talked a little bit about the refreshing look of IndyCar because of the no stage racing, and as an old school, brought up in the Dale Jr. days, is stage racing something that you like? Is it something you feel is necessary from the fan side? What is your perspective on that?
Yeah. As so I'm torn about stage racing.
Okay,
I what I really like about it is that it rewards you running well throughout the race. And I mean, there's been countless days, where Dale Jr. was running well, and then something happens late, and you're like, well, shoot, there goes a
right,
great day. Nothing to
all for
show for
nothing.
it. So I really love that it rewards the consistency throughout the event. I love that it gives different strategy elements of, should we go for points here? Should we stay out? Whatever. Um, I don't like that there's cautions for the stage breaks. I think that
Yeah,
that's like, if I could change one thing about NASCAR, that would probably be it, because it just dictates the strategy instead of making it like opening up Pandora's box. Like imagine if, like Chris Buescher's like on the bubble and he's like, okay, we can get a ton of points if we stay out. We might run out of fuel though, and we're going to be
yeah,
like, because it's going to keep going green. Like I think that's far more interesting than saying, well, oh, he just flipped the stage, he's going to lose his track position. Um, so I would advocate for that because I do think it rewards and incentivizes this consistency. And so I really really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, I think especially at road courses, you're kind of like, well, there goes a lot of the fun of how 3 or 4 different strategies playing out because you basically know what's going to happen when.
yeah. The stage flip to me is like the biggest detractor of the stage breaks to me, because you can write the script of what folks are going to do. Now, when you get an anomaly in a driver and in a track, like an example of SVG at Sonoma, can
Right.
flip the stage and then
Still
win the
win.
stage. That is something that's super unique, right? We don't have a bunch of those to look back on and go, oh yeah, it doesn't matter so much. The flip of the stage stuff is, oh, who cares? Um, but I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I think there would be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun to have them do the stages, but not have the cautions, especially on some of those larger road courses. But and then my second hot take that I'll kind of lead you in with is one that's been on the tip of the tongue of folks here for quite a while. I don't know if the conversation will ever go away.
Mhm.
But the playoff structure. Is that something, you've seen the chase, you've seen all these different versions, the cups or the Winston Cup, you know, ranking. And here we are now in a bracket kind of bracket system. What I don't know. How do you feel? What is the solution? What is the NASCAR John like perfect world in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs?
Yeah. So I have a couple thoughts, right? Like, and I think that for me, I do love the purity of the full season point system, right? The fact that
Sure.
like that's what rewards excellence over a season. My hot take about I think this at writ large is because of our current playoff system, it totally skews how we view drivers. Um, like Chase Elliott, I think we would view him very, very differently in the old system because he's just really consistent. Doesn't win,
Yep.
at least in the last 5 years, doesn't win a ton, but like he's first in points right now, and every Chase Elliott fan wants Alan Gustafson's head because
It's
like we were
crazy.
talking about because he doesn't win, but like he's first in points. I don't know, and
It's crazy, especially that example.
like, and same thing for Bubba Wallace. Like Bubba has
Yeah.
proven to be a top 15, sometimes top 10 driver over the course of a
Absolutely.
season. Like that's nothing to
Especially the last year or two.
Right.
Well, since like it seems like since Bubba the birth of his son,
yes,
that there was some kind of like
awakening
awakening moment for him, which I'm very happy for him because I
Yeah.
like Bubba and I want to see him. I want to see him put all the Facebook commenters like to bed.
Absolutely.
That is my goal for Bubba.
I love it.
And to win and be happy in his life, good for him. But like I want to see those Facebook people just, you know. So I just that points. The points are just so tough to come by in this format. And unless like we said earlier, like the strategy of like even in the stages, you have to go into the day knowing if you're going to give up the chance to win. Because you need points. I don't think people, for me, I don't think people should have to think about that. You go out there and you go run your race, try to win every race, and then we'll reward you for your performance as time goes on, as the consistency of your performance happens throughout that event. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents,
Right.
but I cut you off there.
No, it's all good. I mean, race fans are passionate, so we were always jumping about something. But like, so I think it totally changes how we view these drivers because now we're like, I think generally the sport would say, oh, these are underachievers. When actually you'd say, no, I think they're running perfectly where their talent level lies. But we don't see that because the point system rewards people winning. And I'm, we love that, right? Like as NASCAR fans, as Americans, we love somebody winning. We love winners and losers.
Winning. Yeah.
But the truth is the current system is broken, and Joey Logano has showed that at least 3 times now. And Joey I will say, absolutely deserves to be a multi-time champion. He is that talented. I'm here for Joey Logano slander, but also like I recognize that he is uber talented and is a deserving champion. Do I think he's deserved all his championships? No, but in different formats, he still would be a multi-time champion, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So I think I would like if we have to keep the current system, I am all for a 3-round championship.
Okay.
Or I think Denny mentioned, or maybe Chris Bell, some others have mentioned like a 5-round playoff where it's for seeding and then the last 5 races are just between those 5 drivers. I think that's kind of a nice combination. I would be totally happy if they went back to the 10-race chase like that. I would be like, you know what?
That's my golden goose.
I'd be like,
the 10-race chase.
Tip of the cap to you, NASCAR. I can live with both worlds, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. The 10-race chase to me, that's what I remember from being a kid, and that's what I thought kind of gave the best result. But I've always had this idea too of, what if they made them do multi-rounds of playoff racing, but at different styles of tracks, but requirement. It's not like, oh, Phoenix can be the championship race and we just pick our names out of a hat, or whoever writes the biggest check gets the championship race. It has to be a short track, an intermediate, a super speedway, and a road course. You have to run all 4 of those in the playoffs to determine a championship, and then like the best average finish, or I don't know. People would hate that. That's just my
because of the math. Because of the math, Sal.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
They want to be doing the math.
If the guy who wins the championship isn't doing a smoky burnout and taking the checkered flag in that last race, I feel like people can't respect it. But like, it's interesting, and we're gonna see it this weekend at Indy. We're going to see somebody compete for something that isn't a race win.
Yep.
I mean, I hope Ty Dillon all the best. I hope Ty Gibbs all the best. One of those guys is probably going to win the bracket challenge and win $1 million. Odds are they're not going to win the event overall. Like, good I hope they do, whatever. But like,
it's not,
are you going to have a burnout on the front stretch and a burnout on the back stretch?
I was thinking that this morning. I want Ty Dillon to do a burnout. I want him to win. I want him to do a burnout while Denny Hamlin or Larson, whoever wins the event, is also like, just like the old championship days. Like, that's what I want to see happen.
Exactly. I feel like that's like not a visual that most fans are ready for. I feel like it happened a couple of years ago. What was it? Ross won Phoenix, and then
Yes.
Blaney won the championship. Ross is down at the end of pit road,
He
just absolutely
smashing
tearing it
watermelons.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Blaney's like crawling around the backstretch, coming back to the start finish line, waiting for him to be done. Like, there's a lot to celebrate in the sport, and I think having opportunities to do that, even if people aren't winning the final race, I think is a big deal. And even in the bracket challenge, like a lot of people gave that, they called it gimmicky. I mean, listen, I wouldn't have said Atlanta as the first race, but
Right.
you don't know what you don't know until it happens. But it seems to have worked out nicely. Is that something you've kept up with and something you found a lot of interest in this year?
So I was really excited about the bracket challenge initially, and then with the what I don't like about it this year, how they've done it, is the seeding. I felt like it was needlessly convoluted to say, hey, we're going to take these 3 random Amazon Prime races and determine this. Like, just go with the point standings. Like, let's keep it simple, stupid. Like the KISS principle. But NASCAR loves to be needlessly convoluted. That's just who we are.
They love it.
So, but as it's gone on and seeing Ty Dillon advance or the legacy guys advance, I have really found enjoyment from it, because as the teardown guys are talking about, listening to their podcasts, like, it's nice to talk about people in the midfield. Like, I think diehard NASCAR fans really want to hear about what's going on in the middle of the pack. Like, how many times have I said or commented on the NASCAR Fan Council survey, please go through the field, go through the storylines. I mean, you've watched the races over the years. They used to do like NBC TNT. It would be like, we're doing the run through the field, and they're going to give you every single, or MRN does a great job of that too. Like, NASCAR fans want to know more than just who's out front by how many seconds. Like,
100%.
We are dying for more storylines, and there's 36 storylines every single week.
That's something that, like, I thought Amazon Prime did a great job of in their broadcast coverage, was being able to, and I don't know, and I'm not like, Fox is what Fox is, TNT is what TNT is, and NBC will be what NBC is, but Amazon gave us that new opportunity to kind of see what it could be.
Yeah.
And the way that they were able to show us they were showing us the battle for the lead and the side-by-side battle for like 18th. Listen, I know who's at the front. I know those guys. I don't know about, like, I've only learned a little bit about Ty Dillon. I know he ran in the trucks. I know he's Austin Dillon's brother. I know he's Richard Childress' grandson. Okay, that's all great, but how does he race? I remember when he raced in that Geico car, but like, he was nowhere in the field and you never heard about him. So you knew he was out there, but you didn't know anything about what are they going through? Like, are they looking for points in this race? What is that team? What is that driver? What are they building toward? I think Amazon has done a great job in this last year of crafting those stories and showing us that action side by side throughout the field. And it's interesting because I have conversations with people who do like iRacing leagues and stuff, and they look for like innovative new ways to like tell that story of the drivers in their field. And it's like, well, that's it. Stop showing the leaders all the time. If the leader's out to a 17-second lead, you don't need to know about them all the time. That we know they're out there,
Right.
But yeah, it's I think that in season challenge, I think the little tweaks they could do, it could really be something really, really special.
Totally.
I mean, it's going to be really, really special to somebody this year because they're going to walk home with $1 million. The team's going to walk home with $1 million. Yeah. You made a face. How did that news reach you?
I don't know. This once again, needlessly convoluted. Like, and also like sometimes, NASCAR fans just love something to complain about. Like, we just have to have something to complain about. I don't know. But just once again, like, why is this is a driver's thing? Why is it going through the own? I don't know. I don't understand.
I like to compare it to like NASCAR writes at a 10th grade level, but reads at a 5th grade level. Like that, that's how this is, right? The sanctioning body writes at a 10th grade level. The fan base doesn't. We're not there. We don't need all of the extra nonsense.
Oh so my gosh, that's gonna stick. As a big reader, that's gonna stick with me. I love that.
Take that one with you.
That's so true. Golly,
it's just they don't need to be. They don't need to be F1. They don't need to be IndyCar. They don't need a lot of things that they do. I understand why they do them, but it's from the fan perspective. drowning people in this overcomplicated, like even the Dover qualifying order. Like there's a formula. I still can't find if it's the right formula or not. And I asked the old Chat GPT robot to give
Right.
me the answer. And it's like, yeah, 35% owner points, 25% previous finishing position, 25% fastest lap, 25. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why aren't we just lining them up in order of point standings like they've done since the beginning of time to
That would just be
re-rack a
simple.
field? And it's, I'm reading at a fifth grade level. So, that's how it works for Sal. So, um, you mentioned you do a lot of things on Sunday mornings. Tell me a little bit about the other side of NASCAR, John. Outside of the Cup stuff, you do a lot of things in your community, and then you go to a lot of short track races. Give me a little insight into what it's like to be you on a Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm a United Methodist pastor in
Okay.
Virginia, and so that's the calling, that's the day job, and so like that is like I guess I have a normal life, a normal ministry life, whatever that is, which is not really normal. But yeah, I go into the office Sunday to Thursday, do my work. Of course, there's things that come up, funerals or events on the weekends, or visitations and things like that. But like I try and keep kind of a normal-ish life, have a balance, and so for me, like Sunday morning is like I have a job to do. I
Game
am
time.
I am locked in. Yeah, game time, very much so.
Yeah.
Like, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. And also, it's got tons of challenges that I could that would be whole other podcasts in and of itself. Um, but like that's who I am. I've been full time in ministry. This is my 8th year now.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
it's like I said, it's something that's been a part of my life for a long time. But yeah, do the church thing, come home, turn on the tube, and watch some NASCAR.
Yeah.
That's kind of life.
And then I've seen like you are out at Dominion and doing some different things. I'm not super familiar with the local short track scene in Virginia.
Yeah.
I know Dominion exists because it's on iRacing, so that's how I get
Cool.
consume a lot of my information. But um, you gotten involved in some local stuff around your area. How did that all come to be?
So I am, as much as I love NASCAR, I might actually love local tracks more. I think local
So
tracks
much
are
fun.
just like, talk about a palate cleanser. There's just like, it's like for the love of the game. It's like
Hmm.
the purest like racing, because it's just really people who like absolutely want to be there. Like
Yep.
there's no like drivers who are like, this is an obligation for me. Why am I here? It's like, no, they live and breathe it. It's just that is what's so refreshing and fun. All the different unique series you get to see. So like I love going to local tracks, and luckily I live close to Dominion. It's a fantastic facility, well run, and just puts on some good racing. So I try and go out there as much as I can. But the fine folks down at Langley invited me out earlier this year, which was super cool.
Very cool.
Shout out to Justin, who does the Flow Racing broadcast there. Um, that was just really special, because I've been to Langley a couple times, but to like basically be like, hey, I'm going to give you garage passes if you shoot content for us. And I was like, say less.
Perfect. Yeah.
And that opportunity has opened up others. So um, I've been to Potomac, but Potomac's going to kind of invite me back to do some stuff, kind of dirt track in Southern Maryland. Um, Natural Bridge Speedway, which is a dirt track that I've not been to before, invited me out,
Okay.
kind of saw my Potomac stuff and got connected. Same thing with Shenandoah Speedway, which is a oval out in the Shenandoah Mountains. So like it's been really really cool to have those tracks reach out or connect in some way. And what I love about that, and what I know we've talked about a little bit, is like they get it. Like
Oh
it,
yeah.
it cost them nothing to invite me out to and give me a garage pass and to get free promotion basically for
Yep.
something I love doing. And those tracks, it's different from like big time NASCAR. They can't necessarily pay me or sponsor me to do that, but like they can
Sure.
invite me out and I'll have a great time. And some of these tracks I've never been to, so um, it'll be cool to see some of them or just experience them maybe in different ways. But no, I love going to local tracks, and it also just scratches that itch for when I can't get to NASCAR races all the time because I'm working on Sundays. I only have so many Sundays off. So it definitely is like, okay, how can I get as much racing in my life without being at a cup race?
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's really tough to get to some of the cup races. I mean, for me personally, like Dover, Pocono, Watkins Glen, and New Hampshire are like the closest things geographically.
Sure.
And then it turns into we're going to be in the car for 10 hours. And which is fine sometimes. But I'm a 30-year-old man now, and
No doubt.
my bones don't do, the passenger or the driver's seat for about too much longer than about 6 or 7 these days. So it definitely does scratch that itch. That's really cool. You've had the opportunity to do that. I saw you interviewing drivers as part of some of the content you've done, and it's cool that they, like you said, they get it. Where they're going to have you as a creator come out, and they're going to have you create this content. They'll let you run around. It's your playground for the evening, within reason,
Right.
naturally. But
Right.
it's something that I've talked to a lot of people about in these conversations is what does the future of the content creator look like on a large scale for NASCAR, and when do they start giving content creators media badges like or vests? Like obviously right now it's all very controlled through the teams and through the sanctioning body, and you can kind of skirt the system by reaching out to teams and getting like VIP passes if they have extras. That's one way that I've seen people do it.
Right.
But I'm very hopeful that they will develop a program that caters to creators, and it probably, what the crazy part is, like for me, I'm not going to be at the top of the list of people they call when they create this program, which is fine, just as long as they create the darn thing
Right.
and get something, the wheels turning on it, because there's a big opportunity there. I know NHRA is doing a big push right now to essentially, if you have a social media account and you claim to be a content creator, you can reach out to them and they will give you access in some capacity to get a little bit closer to be able to capture some content. They want people talking about drag racing, and I just, maybe it's out of necessity or out of need, but I
Sure.
think
Right.
they're accidentally on purpose creating this kind of creator relationship with all these different people, and developing all these different relationships even for their partners too, where like,
Right.
say some of the sponsors or some of the drivers are looking for an opportunity to advertise or link up with a creator that's also in the industry, and wants to kind of do something from that perspective, from a business perspective. Now you're kind of pooling all these people to one place, and I think there's so much opportunity for something like that. Obviously, I could sit here and ramble on about it, but there's a lot that could be done there. So it's interesting to hear you talk about how you've been invited to all these tracks, and then like the transition, or the difference of like the NASCAR side. But we'll keep our fingers
Yeah.
really cross on it. But it's cool to be able to go to the short track stuff. It's I love my local short track, Wall Stadium Speedway.
Dude,
Shout out. Those are
I,
the
I've heard a
homies.
lot of cool things about Wall Stadium.
Got to come take a trip. I encourage everyone to come at least once on a Saturday night. We do there's some really good events there. Everybody knows, well, everybody up here knows the Turkey Derby, which is
Okay.
in November. But they do the Garden State Classic, which actually already happened for this year, but it's great because you get I think it's 125 lap modified feature, and it's not 30 degrees outside like the Turkey Derby is. So it's very cold in the end of November. Sometimes you'll get a 70-degree day. Sometimes you'll get a 30-degree day. In the last 2 years, it's been rough. So, the show goes on always, but I encourage people to come up and get a look at the track. The future of the track is kind of up in the air right now. So if you get the chance to come up this year, folks out there on the internet or whoever, come out and support the track one more year, and we'll see what happens next year. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to be out there and doing things.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like I love local tracks because they're just so vital to the whole ecosystem of racing, right? Like we don't get Josh Berry's, we don't get Ryan Preece without places like Wall Stadium or
100%.
Dominion. And like if you love NASCAR, you will love your local track because it's the same thing in just a different way, and you get to follow these storylines of drivers who came up through. And as I think you know super well, and as I've seen tracks over the years, um, like we used to live in Richmond, and we were super close to Southside Speedway, where Denny Hamlin grew up racing, and it closed during the pandemic. Fortunately, it's coming back. Like some new owners
Sure.
bought it, but like that is the outlier, right? And the more we keep losing these tracks to like people who want to build homes in, these rural or suburban areas where racetracks have been for decades. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's really tough. So just, it's we gotta support the local tracks, because it's if we don't have those, we
Absolutely.
have nothing.
That was the first thing I saw when I was at Dover this weekend. I walked out. We put all our stuff down at the car. We always go to the tents to go check out like the secondhand merch and go see what we can find. Um, and as we're walking around turns to see Miles the Monster peeking over our shoulder, on the opposite side of the street is new construction condominiums.
I saw that on your
And
story
I'm
or something. That's
and,
crazy.
and I'm sitting there like, what are you doing? What these two things do not go together. And I just, I've seen the song and dance happen, especially in my neck of the woods, so many times when they have requirements for housing in certain areas, and they don't care. There's big swatches of land, and they sell it off, and then it hopefully doesn't become a problem as time goes on. But yeah, the track closure stuff is, that could be its own podcast. I could sit on here
Oh,
and yap
for
for an
sure.
hour just about
For
how
sure.
that is all unfolding and how awful it is. But I think that just gives people more urgency to go support their local short tracks and make the folks see that it's a viable part of their community, and that's just something that you can't replace once it's gone. So
No.
um, it's a big deal. But so Dominion, are you traveling to any other? You said you were invited to a bunch. Do you have like a schedule of races that you're headed out to? Anything you're excited to see this year?
Yeah, so I am going. It's kind of crazy. I've done all this like posting this year, and I've not been to a NASCAR race yet. But I will be at the Richmond weekend here in just less than a month. So I'll be there for truck race and cup race, and then I will be going to, for the very first time, Bristol Motor Speedway. Going to be there for all 3 nights. And I am ready to rock and roll for that. That's going to be super fun. Me and my dad try and go to a race every single year. We've been doing that. I mean, well, gosh, since I was a kid. But when he took me to Kansas Speedway for the inaugural race and so on and so forth. But now that he lives in the Midwest, I live in Virginia, so we try and make something happen every year. And so we've been slowly marking off the bucket list, and Bristol Night is like the next one.
That track is. You never been out to Bristol?
I have never even been out to Bristol. Yeah.
It is a ton of fun. Even just being in town for the race weekend. Um, Michael Waltrip's brewery's out there, and then it's all on like one strip. So there's the Waltrip Brewery, there's like this wild donut shop, and then there's the Quaker Steak and Lube down at the end. And there's a bunch of stuff in between all three of those big POIs. And then on the other side of the street, because you're on the Tennessee Virginia border there,
Right.
there's all kinds of like restaurants and things, and it's like it's a good time to go and kind of hang out even just in town outside of the track. So they do a great job out there at Bristol. I will be very sad if they lose one of those dates here in the coming years.
Mm.
But that track is something unique and awesome to the sport that they got to build the car around that track. We'll see.
Yeah, they got to figure out something. I mean, I was thinking about this today. Like we got teas with like 750 horsepower earlier this
Oh,
year. Like we got some short tracks coming up. Like is that a joke, or are we gonna get that here? I don't know.
maybe you'll get it at Richmond for the first time.
Yeah, we got option tires last year, and that was a fun freaking time.
Maybe they'll do something like that again. I hope so. I mean, it seems like they're ready to play with tire compound. They had a new one at Dover this past weekend,
Hmm.
so that was kind of a surprise. Nobody really talked about it,
No, they
but
didn't even test
imagine
it. That's what's wild to me. Like just they
just
were
throw
like,
them
all
on the
right,
car.
good luck.
Yeah, I was waiting for like a Bristol esque
Mm,
event where it was like crazy, who kind of pissed in the bucket kind of a deal. But it didn't turn out quite that way. Dover's fairly relatable, fairly predictable
yeah.
with the way that track runs. But yeah, I I I have so I have like two like scripted questions I always ask people at the very end.
Sure.
But I will ask you one before that.
That's fine.
What is your biggest hot take about the sport in general? I kind of tried to like ease you into the hot take, but like, is there one that sticks out to you that like it's like the Twitter meme where with the guy with all the knives
Oh, yeah, yeah,
around
yeah.
his neck? Yeah, what is the one for you that's like people are gonna come for you?
Okay, I'm gonna say it, and then I'll give some like caveat to it.
Okay,
NASCAR needs an EV series.
Ooh,
I
okay.
I don't look. I don't want it to replace the Cup Series, Xfinity, or Truck. I don't want it to do that. But like to have, let's just imagine 8 to 10 races of an EV series. Let's say every Cup team has one car, and they run at Martinsville, Bristol, Richmond, Iowa. I mean, the short tracks and maybe some of these road courses, and you just do like I don't know. I just think that'd be fun. We're NASCAR fans, especially since they've condensed practice times. Like we're craving for more on-track activity. That would be something really, really unique to see. Also, like EV stuff is up and down right now, but like I feel like eventually it's gonna hit the upswing. And I mean, we see it in China and some other places where like EVs are full bore.
Over there, it's
Also,
everything over
I
there.
just I also just think it's really stupid to develop a car to like not use it, like
Yeah,
especially when
they're
like
already down the rabbit hole this far. Like
yeah, like
you got to
we
do something with it.
I'm glad to see they finally did like an exhibition at
Yeah.
the Chicago race. But like, if we did like 8 races of that, I think that'd be fun. And whether you want to say, cool, like Hendrick is going to put Larson in for this week and Bowman in for the next, or if you want to do what they did, where they were like, oh, we're going to give like Raja or some Xfinity or truck guy an opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really care. I just think it'd be cool to see them put out 15 trucks or SUV, whatever
Whatever those
SUV
things are.
EVs on the track. It would just be interesting, and I think maybe a nice way, because what NASCAR has historically done is they're like, "Hey, we're going to do this big change, and you're going to like it." And like,
Yeah.
what a nice way to be like, "Here's an appetizer for something down the road." I don't know,
Yeah.
but also,
We're trying this out. We're A/B testing it
yeah,
with the audience. Like let's develop it together.
right. Like, and
Would be a nice olive branch.
my one B to that is like I would love to see NASCAR lean into like sustainable fuels. I know that F1's doing some of that. IndyCar now runs like fuel that's 100% like sugarcane byproduct. Like I think that's
Okay.
super cool. Nobody in IndyCar is like give me my ethanol, give me my 100 proof. Like maybe some are, I don't really know, but like I think I increasingly like NASCAR, they've set some goals and they've announced some of those goals. But like they will eventually be pressed to make a more concerted effort. And I think that's a really easy win of just like, hey, we just changed our fuel. It's
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool on one hand, but also like that's gonna be necessary at some point.
Absolutely. I mean, those are all good takes to have. I think that EV series stuff would be super cool. Talk about sustainability and fuels, but like the EV stuff is once the cars are built, all you got to do is power them back up.
Yeah.
I've always had like this vision of what that's like. Formula E exists now,
Right.
but like for NASCAR, what could you do even if they were exhibitions, right? It's let's bring the EV series circus to town, to big urban centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't take much. The logistics of getting those cars to run. Let's show people in these areas that NASCAR has traditionally not existed in what this is. And if you can do that through the EV car and kind of give them that appetizer, like you said, and then okay, well they do other things too. What's going on over there? It's kind of the same way I feel like Chicago, the street course, is
Yeah.
going to operate. If they whether they decide to go back to the street course or not, it seems like Chicagoland is a conversation that's happening. So will people now from the last 3 years at Chicago Street Course, that was the appetizer. Is
Mm-hmm.
Chicagoland the main course? So it's like I find that pipeline interesting, especially with the electric stuff too as well. There's such an opportunity there if they want to make that investment and go down that path. And there's more factors to it than financial factors to it than I can handle. Like I said, fifth grade reading level. And then the sustainable fuel stuff. I love hybrid, like the hybrid IMSA cars.
Sounds so cool. I mean, they are unreal.
Crazy.
They're amazing.
And people are like, no hybrid. We can't have it. And it's like, I'll never want to give up the roar of the V8, right? But we
Yeah.
don't have to. You don't have to give it up. It's just having a little bit of both, having that happy medium. And it seems like they were getting ready to develop that through Honda
Yes.
as that potential fourth manufacturer. But who knows now, because Stellantis, Dodge, and Ram are interested in doing something maybe at an Xfinity or a Cup level in the next few years, and
Right.
they really like to tease us with like these little nuggets of like silly season rumors. and it really, it gets out of control for me. I get out of control with it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
it's a
with you.
lot to think about.
It's fun to like ponder. Like I would love to see Honda come in, even like Hyundai or something like that. Like the more
Yeah.
manufacturers would be cool. So I'm optimistic now. Now that especially that we know Ram is going to come back, it feels like for sure that Dodge is coming back.
Yeah. Is there somebody that is there somebody or a team in the truck series that you look at and you go, yeah, Ram fits? Because I heard they were going to do they were talking about doing a reality TV
Yeah, like the
series.
old Gong Show, like Roush deal. Yeah,
I'm here for it, but like for me, there's a handful of really engaging folks in the truck series that I think would be awesome to develop a new team around. Is there anybody that sticks out to you?
well, I think the obvious answer is Thor Sport. I mean, Thor Sport, they've never seen a manufacturer they didn't like. Uh,
It's
and
true.
and no shade. I mean, do what you got to do for your business.
Yeah.
That's who stands out. Yeah, I don't know because like there's now that Spire has really linked themselves to Hendrick, like they seem like they're pretty solidly Chevy, and Tricon's clearly Toyota's pipeline. So I'm not sure. I mean, Stuart Friesen's an interesting character. I think he'd be kind of fun in a Dodge. Maybe sort of like the old like Ted Musgrave, Bobby Hamilton figure, the elder statesman, if you will.
Yeah.
But no, I'm fascinated to see what they do. I'm not really sure.
I'm very much holding on to hope that Cletus McFarland will be involved in that. It's in some capacity.
That'd be
I
wild.
know a lot of the old time fans are like, "Who is this guy? Get him out of here!" But he does something for the sport, and he has that ability to elevate a brand too from the business
For
side,
sure. Yeah.
through his content and through his audience. So, not to mention he's racing everything else that has wheels under the sun down there in Florida. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. I'm super excited for that. There's just I don't know. I feel like this off season there will be a lot of silly season,
No, for
especially
sure.
with the lawsuit as well. I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I,
As
I'm on the team side. That's what I'm
I,
on.
I was gonna say, especially as a 2311 fan, I feel like you're looking at Bubba, you're looking at Tyler Reddick, you're looking at guys who maybe they have clauses in their contract that they have to run for chartered teams.
Right.
I don't know. Where do you see that going? Do you have like a temp that you feel like, okay, everybody's going to come out of this and we're all going to be singing Kumbaya, or are we all going up in flames?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see a split. I think we've seen that story. That is not a
It's
it
never
is not a
good.
good ending. Um,
Never good.
but also like it seems to me that 2311 and those folks involved like they are like we'll see you in December, buddy. Like we are going the distance with this, and they've got the money with Michael Jordan to do that. So like I kind of get it. Um, I think the more the trial's gone on, I've felt a lot less optimistic just because NASCAR has kind of won some of these early stuff. But I don't know. Never count Denny Hamlin out. And what he said was pretty interesting. Of like all will be revealed. And I think like even just this past week where it was like, hey, NASCAR changed the rules of like, oh well,
Yep.
open cars can qualify. They're good, and you're like, okay, so you actually just proved the point that you can just change whatever you want at any time.
Yep.
So I don't know. Is NASCAR a monopoly? I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but I will say this: they do a lot of things that aren't good for the business, and if there were other people involved, like here's maybe my hot take, Sal. Maybe Liberty Media should own NASCAR
Oh,
because look at what they did with F1. People didn't give two craps about F1 in
yeah,
America before they took over, and not that I agree with everything Liberty Media's done, but like,
sure.
holy crap! If you had their power, their expertise, and you have this product that's ripe for like to take it to the next level, uh, yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean that an ownership change in NASCAR. It's been there were whispers about the
Yes.
France family maybe giving up a stake, not giving up total
Mm-hmm.
control. Which I get it. Like it's their baby. They have had all the eggs in that basket for since the basket was made.
Yes.
Um,
It's their basket.
so it's their basket, it's their eggs. And that's kind of I think that's kind of the reason they're in this situation with the lawsuit
Exactly.
to begin with. Um, I think when Denny Hamlin talks about all will be revealed, it was something that was talked about a very, very lightly at the beginning of all this when they first decided they were going to go down this lawsuit path. Was that their books are going to become public record in a court of law if they have to
NASCAR
produce
does not
that
want
evidence.
that. NASCAR
And
does
that
not
is
want that
absolutely
at all. That's the thing for me where I keep coming back to of like, you got something on you. If you don't want your books to be revealed, and I understand nobody really wants their books revealed, especially at that
no,
level,
for
but
sure.
like the way that they're like, even just as you and I have seen, right? That used to be the tracks were publicly traded. We knew how many people were in attendance, how much the purse money was.
Now you got nothing.
Now we got nothing, and NASCAR fans are nosy, if nothing else. And I'd love to know how many people were at Dover on Sunday. I'm curious,
Me too.
but they don't want to give that information out anymore. So
No. It's definitely interesting. I think it that book has more skeletons in it. That there's skeletons in that closet that I don't think they want people to know about, and it's really, I think that's really the chip that they're ready to burn. The teams are ready to burn that chip
no
and
doubt.
say, you don't want
You don't want this smoke.
we know you don't want people to see what's in there, and we're gonna take you to the very end to make sure. And I honestly, I thought they would settle. Or I would have settled already by now.
Yeah, I thought that too, but now it keeps going on. I'm like, this is getting a little bit nastier, and it's only headed towards December.
I have to believe that the investment, if you're Michael Jordan, you've made so much money by having intelligent people surround you and counsel you and make business decisions. And he's not really in the business of losing propositions. So
we're just burning money for the sake of it, like
that either.
Like you saw he got out of Charlotte Hornets ownership.
Oh.
Like, okay, and he made a profit off that. Like,
Sure.
I'm sure he loves basketball. I'm sure he loved being part of that. But at the end of the day, he's a businessman. So like this is not just for show. Like there is, like, to your point, there is something real and tangible behind this.
Absolutely. There's bills that get paid, and there's a benefit to it financially and beyond that they look for. So I'm not a lawyer, 5th grade reading level. Don't understand all the terms that when Jeffrey Kessler gets on like social media or when they shoot video of him, I feel like I'm back in like a dissertation. Like somebody's like trying to hit big words with me, and I'm like, okay, I'll get the ELI 5 version later. But we've certainly had an interesting season so far. Is there anyone you identify as like, I know it's really early, but like, where do you see round of 8, final 4 for yourself? Because we're starting to talk about playoff picture, I guess this week, next week, the next few weeks here as we get closer and closer.
Yeah, and I think what's really difficult too, Sal, is we've gone through this really odd stretch of the summer schedule where nothing really matches up with what the playoffs are, or even this like stretch into the playoffs with more traditional tracks. So, part of me wants to be like, SVG's got a lot of stage points. He's got a lot of playoff points. Like he might just bust his way into the second round. I could kind of see that happening at this point, but I don't know, like Larson hadn't led a lap or whatever, or hadn't led a few laps until like the Coke 600 until this weekend. Yeah. Like he's usually who I'd say. So, I mean, I feel like the only clear cut one is Denny at this point.
Okay.
You could argue Chase with just consistency, but as we talked about, consistency only gets you so far in a system that rewards, wins. And since he doesn't have a lot of, playoff points, I just don't know how far he'll get. Reddick is definitely in 23-11 are definitely not as potent as they were last year. So like, I don't know. Is this year just ripe for Penske to turn it on again and win at Phoenix? Like I would hate to see that just because like clearly they have not been at the echelon of Gibbs or Hendrick this year. Sure. So I guess if I had to put money on it, I'd say Hamlin and Larson. I know that's boring, but like
those are smart picks.
Those just are the two who are consistently at the top and get this system and know how it works.
Yeah, I would love to see Hamlin win a championship.
It'd be awesome,
especially with everything surrounding him
This
right
year
now in
would
the
be
industry.
it would be like I keep thinking, would Steve Phelps shake his hand? Would he give him
Yeah,
the trophy? Like I guess he'd
I,
have to.
I think
Like
he would have to. And that's not an obligation Steve Phelps would have to Denny Hamlin either. That's the funny part. It's an obligation Steve Phelps has to Joe Gibbs Racing,
yeah.
to the sport. There's like, we're gonna make you kiss. We're like the Mike Tyson
Yeah, right.
pigeon meme. Now kiss, and it's like that. You're gonna have to get along, and I don't know, that image would just be unreal to see.
It would feed families, as they say.
Yeah, in reality, it would feed families, generations. So I guess like I usually wrap these, unless you have something. Do you have anything in
Oh man,
particular that you wanna riff on or talk about? Because I'm here for it. I just have run out of
no,
topics on my
you're
little
good.
sheet
You're good.
here
I
in front of
definitely
me.
wanted to get into short track local stuff, so I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went there because that's like a deep passion of mine. And we've covered a lot, even more than I thought we
Yeah.
would today. So I don't know if there's anything else that I've got rising to the top.
Is there a favorite series you have, or because I think that's something you made me remember? Short track racing is not the same for those who have not been to local short tracks. They run 5 or 6 different classes every night. At Wall, they run factory stocks, fast fours, they run legends, they run TQ cars, they run sportsman modifieds, they run modifieds, they run limited late models, they run, that's 7 series in a night. So for those who have not been out there online, if you've never been, you get it for $20 to walk into the track. You get 7 races, which is
Awesome.
unheard of.
It's a great value.
It's awesome. And they're all just as exciting as the last one, typically. And is there a favorite that, because I know they do different racing series, different parts of the country, are there favorites that you have when you go out to your local short track?
Yeah, my 2 favorites, and I'll give kind of a third as well, honorary mention, are the 410 sprint cars. Growing up in the Midwest, went to a lot of dirt tracks. Was out back this summer at Knoxville, and just seeing sprint cars rip the fence is it's unreal. Also, because I'm here in the Virginias and spend a lot of time in the Carolinas, like late model stocks are just that when I hear those, they do something to my brain. Like it alters my brain chemistry, and I love a late model stock. So those are my top 2, but I would say probably the third would be like the touring modifieds. Got to see the Smart Tour last year. South Boston, this was like a decade ago now. Saw them race when it was the Southern Modified Tour. So the touring modifieds, those things rip and are
Those
just
things are big dogs. They're
awesome.
basically late model stocks with no fenders.
Yeah. So you can follow the thread of what I like here. Yeah. Big, fast, loud. Let them rip.
That's it. I mean, that's awesome. We don't have as much here, but modified racing, we don't get the Smart Tour anymore. They used to run Smart Tour at
Really?
Wall, but they don't run it anymore. But the cars are the same. So they're built to, like, you could pull one off the track there and go slap a sticker on it and go run in the Smart Tour if you want to pay your way to get into the series there, the entry fees. But yeah, those things are beasts.
Yeah.
The fun part for me at local short tracks is, like, we have a kid right now, James Blewett. His dad is a local legend, short track legend at Wall, and their family ran a ton of stuff up here for many years. And his son now is like 16, and he drives one of these, essentially is a tour modified. And it's like, you got 16-year-old kids out here running around in big giant crate motor modifieds.
Yep.
Like, you don't know, you got the 16-year-old kid and the guy who's been doing it for 20 years. One's at the front of the field, one's at the back of the field. It's so, like, I think that's part of the short track experience in any series that you get that you normally wouldn't, which is, I don't know, it's super unique.
I love that. Like, the storylines at short tracks, local tracks are just unreal like that. Just the family lines. But like this year, because I've gotten a little bit more connected to some of the folks, like, it's crazy to see. Yeah, there's now like a 3rd, 4th generation driver at Dominion, and these like teenagers who are driving in the late model series, and also against guys who are like, your blue collar, who you expect to be running at short tracks, who are 56 years old. And it's just a wonderful thing to watch.
Yeah, I think that's been really visible too in like the car store with Kevin and Keelan Harvick
Yeah,
this year. That's been fun. And then even as recent as like yesterday, the Cookout Summer Shootouts happening at Charlotte Motor Speedway right now. The Legends cars and the Bandoleros and that
right.
stuff. It's crazy to see Keelan Harvick take a position from SVG in a Legends car, and then Kyle Busch wins that race. Like,
Weird.
what is this like wacky reality we live in where that's what's happening on one track the size of a small parking lot.
Really, yeah.
It's really wild to have those experiences. So I love the Cup Series. I love the Xfinity Series too. There's so much talent, there's so much excitement, but sometimes when you kind of shrink it down and you go to these other series and these other tracks and these different places, it is a blast, an absolute blast.
For sure.
We really didn't talk about the Xfinity Series. This is what I call the Italian goodbye, by the way, where we
Oh,
talk about how we're getting close to the end, and then we talk for another 45
this is
minutes.
Midwestern goodbye. It's a very same thing where you say goodbye in the kitchen, at the porch, in the driveway, in the car. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, perfect. So, are you an avid Xfinity Series follower, or is that something you're also like tapping into as part of your NASCAR fandom? Especially, I know you're a big Dale Jr. guy. He runs a handful still. He's talking about running a handful next year,
Yeah.
maybe, hopefully, maybe Daniel Suarez ends up in an Xfinity car next year. Who knows? What is your Xfinity perception
Yeah.
as a fan?
Xfinity's awesome. I love that series. It also is kind of a palate cleanser just because it's refreshing to see similar cars that I've been used to seeing for decades, and also you know how the cars can manipulate the air a little bit differently, and
Sure.
there's not as much of the aero blocking. I mean, there's going to be aero everywhere and dirty air, but like those cars are a little bit more on the ragged edge, and to see them slip and slide is really fun, especially at tracks like Charlotte or Darlington where they can really showcase that. So I love it. And whenever I go to a NASCAR weekend, I'm like, let's do all of the races, truck, Xfinity, Cup. Because also too, like, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to be like, well, the Cup race has got to be amazing, and sometimes it's not. And so you're like,
Yeah.
well, okay, I got to see a great Xfinity race or a great truck race, or we got to do these things. So I just love experiencing that as well. With it being on the CW, I do love that it's accessible, but I don't have I haven't bought one of those like dishes or whatever. So I can't watch them with the broadcast. So
Huh.
I just play the live stream, and then I put up MRN and I've got the broadcast. But
That's
it's just like a raw
interesting.
feed. So
Okay.
yeah,
You're one of the first people that I've talked to that doesn't have direct access to it. I've seen people online, obviously, that have talked about their lack of accessibility in some markets.
right,
I've watched everything through the CW on the app,
yeah,
and I know there were even problems there early on. But that's interesting because CW, I think they just passed a new milestone in terms of like viewership for the Xfinity Series this past year. But there's still so much more they could do.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
One
there's still so
and
much more.
also like I guess as a fan who, and maybe I'm just kind of an anomaly, who I can't always get to Sunday races, but there's some Saturday races I'd love to be able to drive to. Um,
Sure.
I understand that CW is like trying to create some consistency in prime windows, but like the fact that all the races are at like 4:30, I'm like, if they were at like 1 or 2 o'clock, like they've historically been, yeah, I would drive up to Dover, or I would drive maybe down to Charlotte or something and catch an Xfinity race and head back that night. But it's just the way it is right
It's a
now.
dog.
So
It's a dog to get up. It's a dog to drive up somewhere, however many hours, and then do it all back again the same day. It's,
yeah,
I, that's such a tough deal. And then you have other obligations. It's like, okay, I don't know. That's the tough thing with the TV partners is it's kind of lives and dies by their schedule. But
yeah,
yeah, that's where Prime comes in. That's where
dude,
Prime's a good
Prime's
time.
awesome.
Prime's awesome. I love Prime. But the Xfinity Series this year to me, the talent pool of the Xfinity Series has been something that, again, you talk about diversity in the field. Um, Even this weekend, Connor Zilic wins that race, but Eric Almirola, blast from the past,
Right.
is everybody was so sure that Zilic was going to win that race, even if it wasn't rain shortened. I am here to tell you all, I am not sure. I think Eric Almirola probably would have put the bumper to the 88 if
Dang.
he had the
Okay.
chance. We've seen that happen a few times in the past. Eric Almirola is racing like he's racing for championships still. He runs 10
Seriously.
races a year. So I think there's so much to look at in the Xfinity series, and it's unfortunately kind of it seems to be overlooked at like on the grand scale. But some of the best racing that I've seen ever in some situations has been in that Xfinity series. There's watching Connor Zilisch at Watkins Glen last year.
Dude,
Please,
he was a beast. And even like right now with all the short track problems we're having with the Cup car, like you watch a race on Saturday and you're like, that's some good racing. That is a good time.
It looks really good. I mean, even Dover last year, I've been spoiled because Dover Xfinity races, prior to this year were home track wins for Brian Truex.
Yeah, yeah.
Those were fun to see for the fandom, but like there was a lot of passing. There's a lot of action on track that normally you don't get in the Cup Series. So it's different. Martinsville, I can't get on board with the Martinsville races because they're just parade laps now. But like, I really love watching the Xfinity series, especially at like Charlotte and Atlanta. I know those are like big intermediate tracks, but like you had mentioned earlier, like the way those cars run, you can manipulate the air. You don't have to hit anybody.
Right.
You drive the car off the right rear tire, usually more than the next gen car, which that's not saying much, but they're just such a different animal. I think that's why you end up seeing too a lot of drivers come up from truck right into Cup because the truck
is more similar, right?
Yeah, and but like I think that Xfinity series is like those guys are all a breed of their own a lot of the time. So there's something special about that series. I really hope that they go back to the Busch series after Xfinity's contract is up.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that'd be
my heart wants for it.
Be so great. Would love to see it.
Yeah, it'd be cool. But are there any other cool series or anything else you have coming up that you want to tell people about, or any fun, exciting times in the life of Jon that you feel like sharing with folks out there?
I'm just really excited to connect with people, and through these platforms, but also at Richmond and at Bristol. I've had a number of people comment about like, "Hey, are you doing anything?" or "Would love to meet you." So, yes. So please say hello if you see me at one of those tracks. Working on a meetup thing right now for Richmond. So there'll be more details out about that, and also working on some YouTube stuff. So hopefully we'll have some more long form platform things here coming this fall. So just kind of dipping my toes into that as well. So more things to come, but that's kind of my next things. But definitely looking forward to being at some more races. My busy race schedule is about to pick up here in the next few weeks. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. And actually the last question, this is the one I always say for the end. I steal it from Kevin Harvick in the Harvick Happy Hour pod. What was your first car and what do you drive now?
My first car was a 1990 Pontiac Bonneville. It was a big old boat. I love that thing, that V6. I would make it sing on the back roads of Nebraska. Don't ask how fast I was going, but
the speed limit.
Sure. That thing would haul. I'll just say that. Big old boat, but loved it. That was my first car. And because my grandpa worked at a Pontiac dealership, there's a little specialness in that for me too. So RIP to Pontiac. What I drive now is a Chevy Volt.
Okay.
So probably not surprising that I'm into EV hybrid stuff. Saving the planet one car at a time. Not really, but doing whatever I can fractionally. Also, I just love the technology of it, and kind of a GM guy. So cool. I enjoy my Volt. It's a 2016 blue Chevy Volt, and I enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah, I always try to see if there's that performance connection from the NASCAR fan side to the in my life side. And I mean, you have that GM blood runs through you. So whether it's a Volt or a Camaro, or they're all in the same family, truly.
I would love a Camaro. That's like, if I want a Camaro so bad, I don't know how that would look as a pastor having a Camaro. Maybe if it was, used and whatever else. Also, kind of the complete opposite of a, my eco-friendly Volt is a Camaro. But do I want one? My dream car that I think is actually obtainable is a 80s IROC Z Camaro. Those things are just freaking awesome. I love those.
See, now, if a pastor pulled up in an IROC Z 80s Camaro, I wouldn't look at it the same way as if you had pulled up in a brand new, like, ZR1,
Right.
right off the
Got
showroom
the
floor,
wing on the back. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's got the track package and he's parked at the church today. Maybe the perception would be a little different. It's funny you say that though, because you made me think of it. Out here in South Jersey, there's a church back in this neighborhood in the sticks, and people think of New Jersey, they think of Newark, they think of New York, they think of Philadelphia. There's this whole bottom section, the butt of New Jersey, kind of away from the shore. That's just woods.
Sure. Right.
111 million acres of preserved pinelands, and there's little towns popped up all in the woods. And there's one local here to us, and the pastor at the church. I don't know what the church is. It has to have been there for,
Forever.
my God, I
Yeah.
mean, since I was a kid. He drives a red Corvette, not a new one, but the old school Corvettes with like the salad chopper wheels on them,
Yeah.
with the pop up headlights, and he
Oh,
drives
the
that thing
blinky
out to
lights.
church.
I love the blinky
Yep.
lights.
Yeah, and I just thought of that. You mentioned that IROC, but yeah, there's people out there who do it. Same places.
That's
So
right. That's right. I love
very
it.
very cool. All right, John. I won't keep you. I won't take up too much more of your time. I appreciate you coming on and being a part of this. Where can people find you? I know you talked about getting ready for some exciting things here the rest of this year. How can people follow along and get engaged with what you're doing online?
Yeah, you can follow me Instagram, TikTok at NASCAR Jon. Those are kind of the two I'm most active on. Like I said, got some YouTube presence that I'm working on as well. I think that's NASCAR Jon 1948. But if you can't find it, just go to TikTok, Instagram, and the link tree will guide you there.
All right. Awesome. John, thank you so much again. Appreciate you carving out some time for me and doing this with us. I think it was a great look into the life of this, this very diverse fan and all the different things that you're getting invested in on the media side and as a creator now. Um, Good luck with everything, and hopefully we'll get to chat again, follow up with you in the near future.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a blast. Love talking racing and just love everything that you're doing in ATYL. I mean, there's so many great folks doing really cool stuff that I've been able to connect with. So,
Yeah.
just keep up the good work.
Appreciate it. We'll keep after it.
Yeah.